Pagans, witches, and Wiccans behind bars. They all want a place to worship in our jails and prisons. Hello everybody, True Prison Stories. If you like this video, please subscribe. This was per request of a person who said, hey, I've always heard about pagans, witches, and Wiccans in jails and prisons. Can you do something on it? Well, you know what? It occurs from time to time that we get uprisings from people who want to practice witchcraft in prison. If they're not allowed to, they file lawsuits. So it is a topic that occurs, and it is a topic that causes some issues within the prisons and the jails. Now, just to get started, you know, witchcraft is a very old European and Western supernatural type skills, the ability to cast spells, practice magic, you know, witchcraft. And what prisoners today are wanting to practice is pagan and Wicca. Now, both of these terms came about from Europe to the United States around 1954. These are also followers of witchcraft and natural worship. And they are in our prisons and jails, and they do create some havoc from time to time. So it's a good topic to talk about because you don't hear a lot about it. Any of you out there ever run in during your cell searches or religious ceremonies on Sunday? You ever run into any pagans, Wiccans, witches that want to practice their belief? And does your agency allow it? You know, since 1986, the Department of Corrections in Washington has had Wicca in their handbook. And some agencies will allow pagans and witches and Wiccans to practice their religious belief. Now, we all know that the federal law says inmates should be allowed to practice their religious beliefs, but how far do we take that? Okay, how far does that go? It's tough sometimes allowing some of these things to occur, especially with the things that they want to do. Now, the pagans and Wiccans have a pentacle star, and the 5 points are for the spirit, the earth, the water, and the fire, and the air. All these points, I don't know if they're exactly in that order, but those are the 5 points. And that is their symbol, okay? And how does this affect jails and prisons? Well, let's go, for example, to North Carolina, where a transgender inmate in 2018 was suing the North Carolina Department of Corrections because the chaplain did not allow her or him, it's a transgender inmate, to practice their belief in witchcraft, in Wicca. Wicca, now, they have special meals they have to be served. They have a very strict vegan diet. They have 8 holy Wicca festivals a year that they must attend and have special things set up for them. And North Carolina was not allowing it. The chaplain on this lawsuit was restricting the rights of this inmate, not allowing some of these things to occur. The prison itself was not allowing the inmate to get the strict diets. You know, there's a lot of things that we have to deal with when these inmates want to practice religious beliefs, and there's more and more different religious beliefs coming out every year. And it gets tough. So I would like to know, does your state allow pagans and Wiccans to do their ceremonies? Do they get special meals? Are they allowed certain items that they're allowed to have, like their symbols, their tarot cards, their mineral earthly stones that are for healing, their witch's Bible, their Wicca Bible, their pagan Bible? Are you allowing that in your jails and prisons? Some are, some are not. Some are supposed to be allowing it per their state law or federal law, and they're not letting the inmates have these things. So what happens when this occurs? Well, as I just said, we get lawsuits, we get complaints filed, we get outside witches and pagans and Wiccas to step in and fight for the rights of inmates. It is a serious belief to many, but can it be dangerous to our jails and prisons? What are the effects? Well, you know, there was a soldier who believed so much in witchcraft that he believed a nurse in Georgia had placed a spell on him. And he believed this nurse was a babysitter from his past. And he went and killed this nurse and went to federal prison. This soldier was executed in 2020, I believe, along with 4 others. The first time the federal inmates have had executions in many, many years. So how does witchcraft and Wicca beliefs affect some people? Well, it can affect our prison system because, look, some people can practice these beliefs and never cause a problem. Some people may be coupled with mental illness, things going on in their head, and they're believing that these witches are casting spells on them. That is a whole different ball game, in my opinion. And when they start believing that witches are casting spells on them, and they go out and kill people, or on the streets, or even kill people in the prisons because of these beliefs, that's when it affects our prison system. So we have to kind of keep an eye out. Now, in my personal opinion, I would say knowledge is power. That's why we want to know who are in gangs and what gangs they're affiliated with. We want to know who is an escape risk. We want to know who is a suicide risk. So why wouldn't you want to know who's practicing witchcraft, okay? Doesn't mean that we do anything other than we know that these inmates are practicing witchcraft, but it gives us somebody to keep an eye on. Why? Because of contraband. Okay? They cannot find actual candles and incense to burn. They will make candles and incense out of things they find within the prison system, okay? Safety and security. We don't want any inmates burning things in their cells, right? Fire hazards. The fire marshals do inspect our prisons and jails, and these folks practicing witchcraft will start incense, candles. They need them for their ceremonies, as I mentioned earlier before. And some of these items are being smuggled in. I mean, candles are being smuggled in. Incense is being smuggled in. Crystals and certain mineral stones may be smuggled in. And it may be from the actual people that are coming in from the outside with these religious beliefs. And you're allowing them to come in to help these inmates with their religious beliefs, just like you have volunteer chaplains and so forth. And they're smuggling these items into the inmates because they want them to have them to practice their religious beliefs. Well, all this is a no-no. You have to provide things to the inmates that they are allowed and nothing else. There was one case where a woman was smuggling in food to inmates practicing Wicca because they have to have their vegan food and they have to have 8 special meals during these ceremonies and things like that. The prison was not providing this. So, you know, all this... my right to practice my religious beliefs can get pretty hairy sometimes. It can cost us a lot of taxpayer money because, look, when they sue the prisons and jails, that's costing us taxpayers money. When people smuggle items into the prison of any kind, that's wrong. That's a crime. That's a felony. Not that I'm saying that they shouldn't be allowed to practice these things, but where do we draw the line? And a lot of the courts have agreed that they should not have a lot of these items in the prison system and sided with the agency. Some of the courts have sided with the inmates, saying they should have everything they need to practice paganism, Wicca, witchcraft. It's a very interesting topic, and I believe it was worth talking about a little bit. I've kind of laid some foundation out on these witches and witchcraft in prisons and jails. It's happening everywhere in every state. We have somebody who practices witchcraft in prison. What do we do? Do we have guidelines in place from our agency on what to do if we come across someone practicing witchcraft? Well, of course, if they're practicing witchcraft and they have some of these items they're not allowed to have in prison, we're going to write an incident report and probably give a disciplinary report if warranted, and if your agency policy and procedure allows it. It all has to go with what the laws are in your state and the policies and procedures in your prison. That's why I thought it was an interesting topic to discuss. Watch for symbols of witchcraft, tattoos, okay? There are a lot of tattoos involved in witchcraft and Wicca. Some of the tattoos are what I told you about earlier, the 5-point star, the pentacle with a circle around it. It doesn't mean that you're going to grab the inmate and lock them up because they have this tattoo, but it's good to know knowledge. Write an incident report. You know, inmate so-and-so has a new prison tattoo, appears to be witchcraft. I mean, don't we do that for gangs? Don't we have our records on inmates with gang tattoos, gang paraphernalia? I mean, what does it hurt to have some knowledge on some of these inmates that practice witchcraft? We all know that not all the inmates practicing witchcraft are doing it because they really believe in it. They may be doing it for alternative reasons. Some of them are legitimately involved and were involved before they came to prison with Wicca and witchcraft. So, hey, it's a topic that's been in and out of the courts at the state level, the federal level. It's something I thought worth discussing. Thank you for requesting this video, and let us know your thoughts on witchcraft behind bars. Thank you very much. Gary York, True Prison Stories.